10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Tap it in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Oh, a lot to get to today. It is men's basketball game day. The NIT, UC Irvine is in town. 8 o'clock tonight, 7:30 pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network, televised on ESPN2. We've got Rob Moseley. He'll check in with us talking spring football, which gets back underway tomorrow. Pro Day was yesterday. A lot of football to cover. We'll do that with Rob coming up in just a little while. Also, Keyshawn Bartholomew and Dana Altman, of course, previewing the NIT tonight. And Terry Jonz, voice of Oregon women's basketball, ahead of the WNIT on Friday at 7 o'clock against North Dakota State. He and Bev Smith will have the broadcast for you on the Go Ducks live stream and on the Oregon Sports Network. That's all coming up. 6:30 pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network for Terry Jonz as well. Men's golf with a win in the Bandon Dunes Championship yesterday. Congratulations to men's golf. And Owen Averett with the individual medalist honors. Congratulations to Casey Martin's squad. Today is the last Duck Insider of the week because we always plan for no shows on Thursday and Friday of basketball postseason starting because we never know if Terry and I are going to be in town or if and actually, Jordan was not going to be in town because Jordan Brenner is going to be heading up to Pullman with Oregon baseball this weekend. And speaking of baseball, Jordan's got the call for you starting at 3:45 today and a 4 o'clock, yeah, that's right, 4 o'clock scheduled first pitch against Niagara coming up. So a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. That's why today is your final Duck Insider of the week. We'll be back with a lot to recap on Monday. That's our plan. UC Irvine, good team. Won the regular season Big West title, lost in their conference tournament. They beat Oregon, though, earlier this year, UC Irvine did, 69-56, and it was a different Oregon team. They were banged up at that point. Unfortunately, this Oregon team, this iteration of the Oregon squad that you're going to see tonight, also pretty banged up. Dana Altman giving us some updates and previewing the NIT tonight at 8 o'clock.
Well, if you're going to end up in the NIT to be not just the 1 seed, but potentially, I guess, maybe the number 1 overall, is that kind of a consolation? Nice consolation?
I don't know. It's good to be at home. We are going to be shorthanded. I might as well start out. Jermaine's out with his shoulder. He had a partial separation there against UCLA. He actually played with it for a while, and he's out. Will's going to be out. He's got a hip problem. We're hopeful Dante will be able to play, but he hasn't been able to get his ankle right from the game. So not sure who we're going to have, but we definitely are going to be without our 2 starting guards. And Dante is, do they have hopeful as a category? I don't know. They got out, game time decision, probable, doubtful. I'm calling this one hopeful. So
for it to be back-to-back years for Will to end in this way. All the talk last year was you wanted to come back, you wanted to be happy, you wanted to end in a better way. This is not the terms that you wanted to go out on. So just what is, not just the last couple of days, really the last couple of weeks, because he's been playing this for a while.
No, he's been playing with it for a long time. He has fought the whole year to get healthy. He's missed a lot of practices, tried to get ready for games. But he went in for MRIs, and so they not going to let him play. And So but he has fought it all year, and he's tried to battle through it, and I admire him for that. It's been a rough year physically for him, but he's continued to meet the challenge. But it was really bothering him, and so they took him in for MRIs and decided not to let him play. So, and like I said, Jermaine, I knew something was wrong because he kept rubbing that shoulder and asked to come out. And that was the first time he's asked to come out all year. So I knew that was bothering him. Dante didn't have a good game against UCLA. You could tell especially that first half, he really struggled. But, it's that time of year. A lot of teams are banged up. And so it's a great opportunity for some of our other guys to really get out there and battle and see what they can do.
Are those guys, if you play long enough, that they could come back, or are they done for the run?
I think Jermaine possibly could. Will, I don't think we'll be able to.
That's kind of been the story of the season. I'm sure you guys don't make excuses, but how hard has it been when it seems like week after week you just can't be healthy. You don't know who's going to be out there.
Well, it's one of those things. We've had some fortunate years. We've had some other years that haven't been so fortunate. But that's part of the game and part of any athletic contest. You got guys that do get injured. It's the tough part of the game. You play for the enjoyment, and injuries are no fun for anybody. And so, just gotta fight through it. Last year, we had some sickness with mono and COVID and stuff, and this year it's just the injury bug. And poor Jermaine, had surgery early, and Brennan's been banged up all year. Never had a partially torn plantar fasciitis, and we had Keeg at that. That was a first. So, just been one of those years. But, we got to fight through tomorrow. We got to swing away. Russ has got a really good team. They kicked the heck out of us early. We weren't ready for that type of, and they've got a really established team. They've got a 10-man rotation that they're using, and they've been healthy all year. I looked at their stats. I think their total teams missed 15 games for the whole year, and so kind of like put it in perspective. I'm watching. I'm like, man, their rhythm's good, and man, they play together good, and they've been fortunate. So that's the way the season goes for teams, and we just got to fight through it. Got to swing away tomorrow. Like I said, Ty's going to get a lot of opportunities. Luke Ward's going to get a lot of opportunities. Khalil's going to have to play a lot more. So we're going to have Brady and Gabe, handle the ball with Key a little bit. So we're going to have a lot of different looks out there tomorrow, and we've been practicing here the last couple of days trying to get ready for it. But it will be a different look for our team.
How similar or different are they from what you saw back in November?
They're not. They're playing the same guys, kind of the same rotation. Davis is a tremendous three-point shooter. They got 4 or 5 guys that can really fill it up from 3. Got the 2 big guys inside that are really physical and get to the rim. So, no, it's basically the same team, same guys, really deep. Like I said, they rotate the 10, and then they got 11 and 12. Their 11th and 12th man can play, some. So, but they will rotate the 10, I'm sure, like they've done all season, and watch their tournament games, and they played those 10 guys and have a pretty good rotation.
So many of the teams that are successful in the NIT are the ones that embrace just the level of competition. No one wants to be in this tournament, yet to embrace it. Do you get that sense from this team?
Well, our guys were excited. They're a little down that, they know Jermaine has meant, a big boost to our team. He's second leading scorer, and I think first or second in three-point shooting. So, he's been a big part of our team. Will's been a big part of our team, so they're a little down about that. But, I think the guys are excited that they're going to get an opportunity to play. Luke's looking forward to it, and Ty's looking forward to it. Khalil told him he's going to have to play more minutes. So those guys will have an opportunity, but, everybody wants to play in the NCAA tournament. That's everybody's goal. There's 362 or 3 teams, whatever they are, and everybody wants to play in that tournament. But, there's 100 teams between the NCAA and the NIT, the two tournaments that are backed by the NCAA, and we're one of those 100 teams. There's 263 teams that don't get that opportunity. So I hope they embrace it. It's not where we want to be, and we've said that from November when we had guys going down early. We got to fight through it. You're judged by how you overcome adversity. Everybody's good in the good times. You're judged by how you overcome adversity. And we've had some adversity. We haven't done a great job of overcoming it. And that's, if there's anything I can say negatively about the season is, I challenge the guys, adversity strikes, how are you going to respond? And it's one of the great lessons for further life, how are you going to respond to adversity? Because like I said, when you got a job and your whole family's healthy and everything's going good, everybody's good in that situation. You lose your job, your wife gets sick, one of the kids gets sick. Then you got adversity. How are you going to handle that? And that's how we're judged. So we haven't done as good a job as I'd hoped. We haven't overcome the adversity like I'd hoped. But, this is just another chance for us to swing away and try to overcome it.
You've talked a lot the last couple of weeks about Khalil playing more. If it wasn't for Dante just playing so good, what's this opportunity for him like?
That's partly true.
Right.
Okay, you got to earn time.
Right.
And, he's been like this in practice. He's been like that in games. So, part of that's true, but part of it, you got to earn it, and rebounds per minute, fight, determination, those are all working here. We spend a lot of time in practice. You got to earn a little of that. And that's for all the guys. That's just not for Khalil. That's for all the guys. But Dante has had by far you talk about work ethic. First one to practice, last one to leave. 90% of the time has been Dante. And you look, and the results have been there. He's really improved. He's first team all conference. The regional thing came out for the NABC, and he was second team. So, he's done a lot of good things because he's worked his tail off.
That's Dana Altman, and it's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. So, no Will Richardson. Probably the end of his Oregon career, very likely. Unless the Ducks go on a big run and he's able to come back later, it'll be the end of his Oregon career, and that just stinks. Jermaine Couisnard might be able to come back if the Ducks win a few games, but we can't even be thinking about that until Oregon knocks off the Anteaters tonight. An Anteaters team that hits threes at a really high clip. They do rotate about 10 guys. Pretty amazing that they've had about 15 missed games between those 10 guys all year. Oregon's had more than that. Yeah. That's what the Ducks are facing tonight. When we come back, we're going to talk a little postseason hoops. Terry Jonz already here. He came for women's basketball practice. We got him. Rob Moseley's going to join us, talking spring football underway tomorrow. Nothing going on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. With honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be shared with friends or family. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mac and Rob Moseley now in the Country Financial Studio. Rob, what's up, dude?
Hey, it feels like it's been a while.
Has it been a while?
Well, since we were doing this.
I wasn't here last week with you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I was in Vegas. Where were we 2 weeks ago?
I might have had like a availability or something.
Were you gone?
Maybe I had to miss it. Anyway.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a
so
while.
Happy March?
Yes. The
Yeah.
madness. Although I'm sitting out. I'm not doing any brackets.
You're not doing any brackets?
It's too soon.
Is it that's like your internal protest of both teams being in the NIT?
It hurts.
Why can't you do an NIT bracket?
It hurts too much. I did an NAI one.
Yeah.
It didn't go good.
Didn't go well.
No.
Not a big NAIA basketball guy?
Basically, if a school sounded like a D1 school,
you picked them.
You know, so if it was like Texas A&M Tumbleweed, not actual Texas A&M, I went with
Texas A&M Corpus Christi just won one of the first 4 games, right?
No, but this is NAIA.
Okay.
You know, like Florida.
Man, you're really down today.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you get a Mountain Dew out of the fridge?
Did you see?
Please.
The Penguins choked against Montreal. The last week has been, and then last weekend wasn't great around here, man.
Yeah. Friday was okay against UCLA for the first matchup with UCLA.
And softball getting that win against
That's right.
UW was awesome.
Yeah, but then you're right. The weekend was not great.
But then softball picked it up Monday. Men's golf gets a win.
That's right.
Things
Men's
are trending
a huge win.
The right direction. The problem, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, the Pittsburgh Penguins are Oregon men's and women's basketball. Like they've spent the whole year on the bubble. And sometimes your hopes get up, and sometimes depression sets in. And weathering that professionally and personally is rough.
Has anyone ever told you that it is not healthy to live and die by the success of a team?
Yeah. Especially the Penguins. That was a cheap shot.
That was a cheap shot.
Man.
Scott Phillips taking shots
Yes.
over here. I get it though. I understand.
No,
we chose this profession.
No doubt. And you make choices in life about where you invest your energies. And I've tried to be like a better reader this year. And
how's that going?
Good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
good.
As I've mentioned, I think it was off the air. I've recommitted to physical books in the last 6 months, and it's been a game changer. I tried to go iPad, Kindle, whatever, and it just wasn't happening. And since I've recommitted to physical books, I'm just crushing books. My travel day to Las Vegas, I did something I'd never done in my life. I started and finished a book in the same day.
Well done.
I started a book at 4:30 in the morning.
It took how many years to get there?
46.
Wow.
In the Eugene airport, and I finished it after we had nachos.
They were
in
good
Vegas.
nachos.
They were.
They were
hearty.
They were great nachos.
They were hearty.
Yeah.
It ended up not being a great book, but
you did it.
It was a victory. Yeah.
See, you need to take more victories like that in your life, and not the losses of the Penguins.
But the fact that by the end of it, I was like, oh, that wasn't a very good book. It was like I was so proud of myself, and then it's almost like in life, nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
Come what?
How many years were you today years old when you realized
that's not fair.
These are the questions that we all tune in for on Duck Insider on a Wednesday when it's you and I. Well, welcome back.
Yep.
Happy March.
Yep.
I'm sorry that it is too soon for me to be asking you this question, but
sure, fire away. Yep.
Men's basketball tonight.
Yep.
The NIT. No Will Richardson.
Yep.
His career likely over as a Duck with that hip injury. Jermaine Couisnard partially separated his shoulder against UCLA, so he's not going to be able to play tonight. Dante is a hopeful, in the words of Coach Altman. Opportunity awaits for some guys that are probably coming back next year.
Yeah, I think there's two ways to approach playing in a tournament like the NIT. And, on one hand, you say, hey, let's finish things the right way. If you had a senior like Will Richardson, hey, let's send him out with a good run.
That's right.
But and then the other one is, hey, let's set the foundation. Let's build some positive momentum going into the offseason for the guys who are coming back. And I think under these circumstances, you lean much more heavily on the latter. Kind of how results play out in this tournament. I mean, if you're taking the court, you want to win.
Yep.
And if you're entered into a tournament, you want to win that tournament. But I think given the circumstances, it's much more. Some guys who haven't played a lot are going to get some minutes. What do they show? Some guys who've been maybe in kind of reserve roles, might be playing starter type minutes. How do those guys take advantage of those and circumstances, and what does that mean for their futures, for the program's future? There's always some sort of positives you can take, and so I think that's probably the right way to approach how tonight plays out, and hopefully a few more games in this tournament.
I can circle guys on the roster that we could look back next year and say, hey, this game maybe catapulted them. It's the Nate Biddles who said post-game in Las Vegas that, it's a chance for them to all improve their individual games. He said that that's what this tournament can be for. Tyrone Williams is a naturally gifted scorer, but he was always behind Oregon's pace in terms of putting in the playbook because he got here later than everybody else. So guys like that can really make an impact. Kalel Ware can really make an impact, It's unfortunate that you don't have a guy, I think, like Brennan Rigsby, because he's one that could really play a lot of minutes and could catapult. But this is the potential that it could be a springboard for some of those guys. A Rivaldo Soares in a bigger role now, too.
Yep. Yeah, and so how do they take advantage of those? And you think about every one of those guys, there's parts of their games where you felt, okay, this guy, I think – the stereotype and a lot of this fits for a lot of those guys is they can score the ball.
Right.
Or there's other aspects of the game that you have to do to sometimes we as fans say, hey, that guy is a talented scorer, play him. And a coach is going, we need him to rebound, we need him to defend, we need all these other things. We need to play well offensively without the ball, and within the framework of what they want to get done. So here's chances to do all those things for all those guys and all the different things that the coaches really want to see. If you're at this level, you've probably proven you can score the ball.
Yeah.
Whether it's before you got here or since you got here. How do you do other things to help the team win? And I gotta think there's a lot of stuff like that the coaches are looking for guys to show them. In these minutes that they get.
There's no doubt about it. And a guy like Keyshawn Bartholomew playing even more active role now, right? Handling the ball, can he handle that, right?
Yeah, he's been kind of like the Vinnie Johnson. He's been the microwave for this team coming off the bench, it feels like, as a scorer.
Yeah.
All right, well, now we need you to be Isaiah Thomas.
Right.
Does anybody get that? Did
I
just date myself really, really bad?
That's okay. You did.
All right.
But we're all on the same page.
All right, cool. So let's find out. Go
Tonight,
be Isaiah.
8 o'clock. 5 Isaiahs would be probably a pretty good team.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Be short. You might get beat on the boards.
That's fine. But if you score a lot and you don't turn it over,
maybe
it works out. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I mean, I think the NIT, just look last night, for example. Washington State, they didn't have Muhammad Gay. He's been banged up, so he did not play. And Eastern Washington beat Washington State at home in the NIT last night. The injuries and availability can make a huge difference. And so which Oregon team comes out and do these guys really perform the way that we know they can? Yeah, it could be a run. You never know.
Here's how on tilt I was about the Penguins last night. I watched that Cougar game, and it didn't even occur to me that he wasn't in there.
Really?
Because I was just so downtrodden.
Yeah.
Montreal? You can lose to Montreal.
You tell me, Rob.
A bunch of defensive breakdowns.
Yeah. It's almost like maybe defense is as important as scoring.
Yeah, we outshot them like 45-20 and lost.
Wow.
6-4. Empty netter. Oh, God. But I'm over it.
No, you're not.
I'm over it.
You know the phrase that that players move on from losses faster than coaches?
Yeah.
I think that Rob Moseley's move on from losses slower than anybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, this is tremendously ironic too, because I came skidding in here at the last moment
to get here.
To get here.
Okay.
From recording a podcast.
Nice.
With Camden Lewis.
Going to be a fabulous Mighty Oregon podcast.
Yes. And so much of it was on how he learned, kind of through trial and error, he almost has like a golfer mentality as a kicker. Like, you have to forget the last shot, whether it was good or it was bad. And, he did so much mindset training and all this. I need to apply that to being a Penguins fan.
Yes.
Forget the last game.
Every coach in America would tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a couple big ones with the Rangers coming up.
You missed a free throw.
Right.
You got
to flush it.
Got to flush it. Yeah.
I'll get there.
Women's basketball on Friday.
Yep.
Terry Jonz, we're going to do a big preview with him coming up.
Ooh.
So, your thoughts? Women's basketball, North Dakota State, 7 o'clock, Friday. Home game.
Yeah, God, it feels like forever since they last played.
It has been forever since
they last played. Forever since they last played. Yeah, no, just, same thing. Can you get on a good run here? I think, and can you set the foundation for next season? I mean, I think they're probably hopeful that if everybody's, as healthy as you hope, they can really go on an extended run, and really set the tone for next year. But yeah, I'm just excited to watch them compete again because it's been so long, and it was frustrating. I mean, I think they really felt like they did what they needed to do in Las Vegas to get into the NCAA tournament, and you just compare to some of the other teams that got in, and some other teams have more wins recently. But in terms of overall metrics, what's the point of having the net if the number 19 team isn't deemed tournament worthy? I mean,
agreed.
If your algorithm that ranks teams puts a team at 19th that's deemed not worthy of the tournament, you need to change your algorithm, because that's just silly.
Yep.
But again, I think I've seen some people saying, well, hey, they scheduled really tough and it didn't pay off. Well, it did. I mean, I believe
they were 19 in the net.
Yeah, I believe they were 9-2 non-conference.
Right.
Scheduling Ohio State and Arkansas and North Carolina isn't what hurt.
Yeah.
Having that stretch of
tell me right now, if Oregon goes 10-1 in conference, or in non-conference, are they getting in?
Probably,
maybe,
probably. But you just win a game at Washington, you win a game at Washington State. I mean, that
weird buzzers at the end.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'm looking back at now, and Kelly Graves made mention of it at the time, but it certainly didn't occur to me before the fact, and it didn't really resonate even after the fact. Is that big of a deal? Is they went 1-8 during a stretch when they played 7 of 9 on the road.
Yeah,
and Kelly Graves made the point that that's a
lot of road
games concentrated in a short period of time, and I didn't really consider that much at the time, but you look back and go, there were other circumstances affecting the team through that,
right?
That led to some of the difficulties they had in those games, but you'd like to think scheduling wise that doesn't happen again
for sure.
Because that's a lot of road games in a short period, and then to go 1-8 in those games. I mean, that was obviously the critical period in the season. But yeah, you just you hang on to win at Washington. You don't squander that game against Washington State here. I mean, there's just so many moments in a season, and as a coach, you try to tell your team that every possession matters, every quarter matters, every half matters, every game matters. And now you look back, and if that's not reinforced for you now, it never will be.
I think for both teams.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, heading into the Pac-12 tournament, so Coach Altman was in here for Tip-Off Tuesday, and he was asking me actually about the tiebreaker scenarios for the men heading into the final weekend.
Yeah.
And it was like we were getting down into the real nitty-gritties here of like, what if it's a 4-way tie between these people? And one of the
Doug
things
Tamro at Arizona State pointed me to a website that solves all that for you.
It's fabulous.
It's awesome.
I'm familiar with said website.
Okay.
So, but one of the things that he and I ended up talking about, ironically, is Who would have thought that beating USC by nearly 20 points at home in the one time you played USC on the men's side, that could have ended up being the defining game of the season?
Right.
You never knew it at the time.
Because it
was
Oregon
the
an edge in all the
tiebreaker,
tiebreakers.
and that's what put Oregon in the 4 spot, in all these different scenarios. Now, ended up not really mattering much. Ducks ended up losing to UCLA anyway. But the point is, in the ebb and flow of a season, you never know which flow is going to be the defining flow.
One thing I really appreciated about softball winning Friday and about the Oregon women winning their Pac-12 opener.
We've come full circle. I'm ready.
UW's kind of taking it to us this year, as much as it hurts. Handed us a loss in football, and honestly, I think if the men win at UW and the women win at UW, things could look dramatically different for both programs right now.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And so
And this has been the appearance from Rob Moseley on Duck Insider.
Yeah.
And, we've still got another Diamond Sport coming up.
Yeah.
With the Huskies.
Yeah, no, it's hard to swallow, but that's what makes a rivalry great.
Yep.
As we learned through much of the last 20 years, when one side dominates, it starts to not feel as much like a rivalry anymore.
That's accurate.
And for the rivalry to truly flourish, the Huskies do have to win every once in a while. And they have this year. But hopefully that's only the every once in a while and but yeah, it's been a bitter pill, but I must say that I made my feelings about that matchup clear to the women's basketball team prior to the game in Vegas, and they came through, and I will forever be grateful to them for providing that moment because it was.
That's good.
I enjoyed it.
That's good. Lastly, you mentioned football.
You got to teach the youths.
That's right.
Some of the history.
You do. Yes. Accurate. Yes. Spring football starts tomorrow.
It does. Can you believe it?
Where are your eyes going to go first practice tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to wrap your head around. I think obviously when you have a new offensive coordinator, what's that look like? How different do things look? Some of the particularly there's a ton of new guys on hand, and so first of all, it's just going to be, wait, who's that guy? Wait, who's that guy? Wait,
that's where my eyes go.
That's a lot of roster checking.
So my eyes, I was going to say, my eyes go to right here,
yeah.
the roster.
Right.
Okay.
Wait, who's that?
Got to get familiar with the, yep, okay.
I think by practice 6, 7, 8, unfortunately we've got these couple, and then you forget
get the break.
everything.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
But I think, of all the new guys, particularly the guys who transferred in through the portal, how do they fit in? And what does that say about, where coaches think there were some areas that needed to be addressed quickly. But it was being out at Pro Day yesterday was fun to see Terry back here. I mean, that's just a guy who
that's cool.
I think endears himself to everybody he comes across. He's just a great dude, and it was really good to see him. And so it'd be exciting just to see all those guys. For the football program itself, I mean, those guys are together all the time, 24/7, 365. And, so there's a certain, segment of staff that's just with that team.
All the time.
For guys like you and me, we're dialed in to an extreme extent during the season, and it'll feel like that as spring goes on.
Yep.
But then we also go through these periods over the summer and over the winter where there's a real disconnect. And, and I'm putting myself in your shoes here, and let me know if it feels any different for you. But it just, you feel like you've unplugged from that program for a little bit while, and now we get to plug back in, and so it's almost like
it's like the first day of school.
Yeah, it's like a reunion almost.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, to see
I feel the exact same way.
Seeing Kenny Farr and guys like that, the athletic training staff, those are our buddies.
Yeah.
Those are the faces that don't change year over year over year, and so it's it's always fun to see those guys and kind of get reacquainted with all them.
So the eyes go to the people you know and the people you don't know, and then you check them on the roster.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yep.
Rob Moseley.
Yep.
Thanks, dude.
Hey, thank you.
Editor-in-Chief, GoDucks.com. He'll have a recap of victory tonight.
Yes.
See?
Hopefully.
That's what. No, we're manifesting.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what that's called.
So the Penguins will beat the Rangers twice this weekend?
Sure.
Manifest.
Just for you.
Manifest.
Just
come on.
For you. Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. When we come back, men's golf with a nice victory in Bandon Dunes. We're going to tell you about that. And then Terry Jonz previewing Oregon women's basketball in the NIT on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's our roads. It's our safety. Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
We are back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mac in the Country Financial Studio. Women's basketball in the NIT coming up on Friday. Men's basketball tonight in the NIT. And men's golf played the back nine in 6 strokes under par, including birdies on 3 of the last 4 holes by individual medalist Owen Averett to win the Bandon Dudes Championship for the 2nd consecutive year. Congratulations, Casey Martin squad. The Ducks played Bandon Dunes course in 6 under 282 Tuesday to win the tournament at 5 over 581. Oregon State, Utah tied for 2nd at 588. They cleared them by 7 strokes. Weather forced the cancellation of Monday's round, which cut the event to 36 holes. But the Ducks were the champs. The individual medalist, Owen Averett, you love that. Pretty much your home course, right? It's great. Congratulations to Oregon men's golf. There was a lot of hype for Oregon women's golf. Deservedly so, heading into this year. The national runner-up a year ago, a lot of players back. Ashley Park comes in, has been outstanding. But Casey Martin's men's team, they've been moving up some leaderboards this year, let me tell you. We're going to get time out. When we come back, an extended segment with Terry Jonz. Women's basketball postseason is here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I've been driving trucks for a long time, and safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Back on Nugget Cider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I almost said Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota, because Terry Jonz is here in the Country Financial Studio, ladies and gentlemen.
Who?
Voice of the Oregon
here.
women's basketball team. Him and Bev Smith have the call. 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock. North Dakota State is in town taking on the women. Kelly Graves actually just talked with the media before we got rolling on the show today. It'll be on the Goducks YouTube. Alex Simpson was over there filming and said, the curse continues, Terry. Kennedy Basham might not be able to go on Friday. I just... Yeah. You know, should we just bubble wrap the arena at this point?
I know. It's been crazy.
Yeah, it sucks.
You know, it just reminded me of how the season started with Sedona.
Right.
We lose Sedona Prince.
Jeez.
You know, that helped. I was talking to somebody earlier, and I said, you know, that helped Filipina Che's progress.
No doubt.
A lot of game reps. But she also would have gotten a lot of reps against Sedona in practice all season long, too, that in Sedona, you know, being a veteran would be able to show her a few things. And then, of course, we had one of the first players off the bench decide to leave the team after 10 games.
Right.
I mean, it's been crazy. So, you know, and now Kennedy, who got hurt in the first couple minutes against Northwestern, the opening game, and then comes back looking good. And now she may not play tomorrow. And
Friday.
Oh, it is only Wednesday.
It is only Wednesday.
Oh, thank you. Well, good. I might have showed up tomorrow and been, where is everybody?
Well,
okay. That would
have been a good practice.
Wouldn't have been
broadcast.
The first time that happened. No, it wouldn't have been. But it's they're ready, though. I came to practice. First time I've watched them practice since Vegas. And went to practice this morning. Just thought, I want to get the vibe, see what they're like. They've had a few practices. I think they started back in last Friday. Kelly gives them almost a full week off after the Pac-12 tournament. They can kind of scatter.
Needed.
Yeah, and I think the coaches need it too, and the players. Then you're ready. Are you ready to go? And from what I can gather, it took them a couple of days to kind of regroup and go, okay, hey, we're playing. We might as well go and try and win this thing. And it looked like it today. They had a really good practice today. They were getting after it, and I was encouraged. Now, they're going to have to because I talked to Andy Rykoff, the radio broadcaster for North Dakota State's women's basketball. This is the NCAA tournament for North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Not that they can't make the NCAA tournament, but for them, they went to D1 in 2006.
Right.
18-11. That's the most wins in program history since 2004-05 season.
Wow.
When they were Division II, and they were Division II power. So he says, Fargo's fired up. Everybody's fired up, and he says, I can tell you one thing, this team's going to come in and play hard.
Yeah.
Sounds like similar to the Ducks, that if their threes are going, then
they're hard to beat.
They're hard to beat. Yeah. We're kind of similar, aren't we? I mean, when we got the threes going,
we're
really good. And a lot of teams are like that.
Yeah. God, now you got me thinking about
the
men's numbers. It's just maddening.
Yeah.
It's maddening when you see the 3 percentages and just how defining it is when Oregon hits on the men's side above 35% from 3 in a game. It's just night and day.
Yep.
In any case, okay, Rob and I were talking about this. You and I have talked about this off the air a lot. We've talked about it on the air on Tip-Off Tuesday a little bit. I know you've talked about it on the broadcast. The net is still new. Here we go. Here's how I'm going to do this. The net, the NCAA evaluation tool, is a metric that replaced the RPI in basketball and is designed to give us all an idea based on strength of schedule and record how strong a given team's record is. Was that a good definition of the NCAA evaluation tool?
Evidently not.
Okay, well, so Oregon.
Look, because they're 19 and they're not in.
But
so I don't know.
Here's where we're at. This is going to be the last time that I bring this up. Truly, this will be the last
Why?
time that I bring this up this year.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be the last time I bring it up this year because after this, it's go in the NIT, right?
Yep.
That's where I'm at. But you and I haven't gotten a chance to do this on the air. I'm a staunch believer that if you're 19 in the evaluation tool that says this is the strength of your record and you don't get into the NCAA tournament, I am beside myself as to why every Monday, and here's the truth, why every Monday on Duck Insider I walk in here and I go, here's where Oregon's at in the net.
Yep.
Here's where Oregon's at in the net on the men's and women's side. Why do I spend time doing that on Mondays anymore, Terry?
So it's the net, plus you got to win how many?
Right.
So, I mean, clarify it a little bit. You know, I was thinking about before the selection show on Sunday, I thought, if I were on the committee, the selection committee, and Oregon, look, it's an aberration. They're 17 and 14 and number 19 in the net. Okay, so what does all that mean? We put these algorithms in for the net that would take care of a team that plays a really tough schedule, plays in a really tough league, the number one league in women's basketball, in Division I women's basketball. Okay, so I would go, okay, who else is on the bubble? I would take those teams, take Oregon, apply Oregon to their schedule. How many wins does Oregon have then?
Right.
22?
Right.
I actually did that, and I'm not going to tell you what team, but I went and took a team, and that team got in, but then they had won 19 games, and I looked at that, and I gave Oregon at least 22 wins.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, so there you go. I would put Oregon, and I would go through that process. Now, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe that's what they do, and they have a difference of opinion. I know
they have a tough job.
I know they do. And
sure.
Lisa Peterson, I know, had talked and said, look, we have 12 people in there and 12 different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
And, here's your criteria. They have, I think, 14 things
Should say
that they
Lisa,
follow.
former SWA
Lisa
at Oregon,
Peterson.
now a Pac-12 associate commissioner. She's the chairman of the committee this year.
Thank you, yes. And saw Lisa down at Vegas. Doing great, very happy, and really happy for her. Really happy for her.
She still can't pack a suitcase. I just want everybody to know that. She told me as much.
You guys had.
Yeah, she texted me a picture of the suitcase.
Sometimes when she would travel with us, the women's basketball, we were going, I think we went to the Bahamas or the Virgin Islands, one of them. And I had one suitcase, and she goes, all right, Terry, nice job. I didn't pick up on that, but now I understand what that
was. It was a long-running joke with me and with Lisa that it was like a Tetris puzzle trying to pack the suitcase. In any case, it's a hard job. Look, I don't want to be – there's a reason that I sit in this chair, and I don't want to be on any of these committees. I'm just asking the question, why do I spend the airtime on a Monday talking about the net if it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I wonder if there will be an adjustment. And we talked about, too, I thought, either way – that the committee decides putting Oregon in. Okay, the people on the bubble that thought they should have been in, they're going to be, hey, what's with this? I mean, they didn't win it, and vice versa. Now we're on the reverse. And now, okay, do you tweak the net? I mean, I would think you would have to. It's not a good look. Even at the beginning of the selection show, that piqued my interest on ESPN when they had it on Sunday, that they had mentioned Oregon right in the open. I go, whoa, well, wait a minute.
They were curious, too.
Yes.
I think everybody was. Now, look, and we should say, too, if you just win the tournament, we're not talking about this, right? You win the Pac-12 tournament, we're not talking about it.
Or you get one more win.
You get one more win. I mean, every coach in America would say that in this circumstance as we're sitting here talking about it. But I just think it's an interesting example, and so one thing, there's always going to be something that changes in sports, whether it be a 4-team playoff, a 12-team playoff, whether it be how many conference games you play. There's always things that people like us can discuss. And believe me, administrators and coaches are talking about all these things too. I'll give you an even crazier example here, Terry. In the NIT broadcast tonight, there's an experimental rule. The timeouts will be triggered. The full timeouts will be triggered after 17, 14, 11, 8, and 4 minutes in the second half for a men's broadcast. Normally, it's 16, 12, 8, 4, and the first called timeout by either coach. That first called timeout by either coach now will not be an automatic media timeout. Instead, it's going to be 17, 14, 11, 8, and 4. Under those marks, there will be a timeout, first dead ball.
Why?
Because people like me have been big critics of if a coach calls a timeout at 11:40 on the clock, and then 5 seconds later.
Oh, that I get. But why the change in times?
Because there's 5 breaks still.
Yeah.
So instead of there being.
Oh, so you're going, okay, I see what you're saying.
So anyone who's listened to me do a game, when you hear the whistle blow at 11:48, and then a coach takes a timeout at 11:40, we've played 8 seconds of game time and we take another media timeout, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's bad basketball. It's even worse broadcasting.
Yeah.
So,
but how is this
changing.
fixing it?
So this way, it'll be just at the under marks. There's no coach called timeout that triggers a break. So there's my point is, this is maybe a bad example now that we're
so it'll always be the specific space or time played.
Correct.
Close to it anyway.
So if a coach calls a timeout, it won't trigger the full media timeout.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But so I say all this is like there's always things that are going to change and be adjusted. And
just go to quarters, man.
That's what I would like.
With the rest of the world.
I would also like to advance the ball.
Need to be, yeah. The men need to get up with the rest of the world that plays quarters.
I like
they
that
advance the ball.
I like
that.
I like that there's some differentiation between college and professional, but in that case, I'm all in for quarters. Gives you more exciting last shots. Gives you 2 more of those per game.
And for some reason, the games go faster. It seems like
maybe
since the women. Seriously, I've read some things where I can't remember how many minutes. It's a few minutes since the women went from halves to quarters that it goes faster.
Devin says it. TV should be there to simply observe. I agree with that, right? Like that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, they have to pay for their broadcast. I mean,
they do, but we don't need to do it with back-to-back full.
Oh
media
no,
yes. There's a better way to do it.
Yeah, and that still happens with the women too. I mean, it's under 5 in each quarter.
Sometimes you get one at minute 50, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So but in any case, the reason I bring this up, there's always things that are going to be adjusted. There's always things that will be talked about, experimented, and maybe the net is due for an adjustment because of Oregon's case study. I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know. How do you keep the number 19 team out?
Well, here's what you do. You go win the NIT and you say, hey.
Well, that's the next best thing to being in the tournament.
Right.
I mean, you can make a statement by doing
the women's
that.
program's been successful in the WNIT.
They have, 2002. In fact, I look forward to Bev on the broadcast. I'm going to ask her, you were a coach. Disappointment of not making the NCAA tournament, but then you regrouped.
Yeah.
You won the WNIT over Houston, I think, at 54-52, if I remember right, over Houston at Mac Court. And I want to say a last-second shot or something. It was right down at the buzzer. Or maybe Houston had a shot to tie it. I can't remember. But
we'll find out on the 6:30 pregame show.
Yeah, find out from Bev. I mean, how did you do it? What was your team? What was it like? I wasn't calling the games then, so I wasn't inside or I'd be able to tell you. But I'm sure Bev will be able to tell you. And it is difficult. The disappointment. I'm sure Kelly in his press conference talked about, that the kids, when they got back together, you're disappointed. I mean, it hurts. You played all season. You kind of regrouping. Do we want to regroup and do this? And then when you decide, yes, we are, the leadership steps up on the team, not the coaches. And like I said, I was at practice today and looked like it has. They look like they are getting ready to make a run, and we will see. Tough year. I heard Rob talking about this too. I think the Washington State overtime loss and the clock malfunction, where actually they did win the game, I do think that's something they need to talk about. And Coach Graves has talked about that too, where you let the play complete itself, and then they have stopwatches, or they go over there all the time to the monitor,
reevaluate it,
and reevaluate, see if it should have counted. I think maybe that's something that should be talked about. I'm sure Kelly will probably bring it up in a coaches meeting or something and see if anybody else wants to do it. Another thing that confuses me, because right after that, the Ducks had to go on 7 of 9 on the road.
Right.
You're disappointed. I mean, the players, I'm sure, felt a little bit injustice that they didn't get that game. Now, make a basket earlier, it shouldn't have gone to overtime. But obviously Washington State showed that it's a pretty good team winning the Pac-12 tournament. So 7 of 9 on the road. How do you do that? Stanford had to go 6 of 8 on the road, and they lost 2 of them on the road. Cost them the Pac-12 championship. And I'm sure why does that have to happen? I mean, when we're in playing Washington State and Washington on the road, I looked at their schedule. Other than when they played their rival and then 2 on the road, they had 3. That's usually
interesting.
That's normal. Everybody else was 2, home away, home away, home away. That's really unfair to do that. And I know they've had the rotation of doing that. They say it's rotated equally. I don't know. I'll have to look at that to see. But that's just
there's
not
always
fair.
A year.
It's not fair. Now,
there's always a year.
In 2019-20 season, We had Sabrina Ruthie's out there. I mean, that group
that
was
group
going to
could
win
do
a
it.
national.
Yeah,
they did. They had 8 out of 10 on the road, including going to Connecticut. They won all 10 because they were. It was a WNBA team.
That team was so good.
So good.
I got to cut you off.
Oh, sorry.
Up against the clock.
The clock?
6:30 pregame on Friday.
That's right.
It's gonna be
and
fun.
You tonight get a win.
Yeah, God, we need it.
Yeah, come on. Hopefully the fans
2
come out and support
NIT
them.
championships on the horizon.
Why not?
Keys to that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, college scholarships for the children of law enforcement, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on the USDSA and how you can help, visit usdeputy.org.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Did get a chance to hear from Keyshawn Bartholomew today. A little bit of afternoon pregame for you if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Keyshawn Bartholomew available on the Go Ducks YouTube because the Ducks are taking on a good UC Irvine team tonight. I mean, look, the NCAA tournament for both of these teams, that's where you want to be. But if you're going to play and you're a competitor, just go win the thing. Let's go back to Vegas if you're on the men's side. I'm in. NIT. Let's do it. UC Irvine can really shoot the three. The biggest key to success tonight, defend the three. And it's a little bit of a revenge game. UC Irvine popped the Ducks here at Matthew Knight Arena in November. Let's see what happens. Pre-game at 7:30 tonight. See you then.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
Or your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human